In the summer of 1914, a single act of violence set the world ablaze. In the streets of Sarajevo, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife Sophie were assassinated by a young Serbian nationalist. This was the spark, a localized crisis that, through a tangled web of promises and paranoia, would escalate into a global catastrophe. This was the Great War. The assassination triggered a domino effect across Europe. Austria-Hungary, seeking to punish Serbia, issued an ultimatum. Russia, Serbia's protector, began to mobilize. Germany, allied with Austria-Hungary, declared war on Russia and its ally, France. This was the result of a continent divided into two armed camps, the Triple Entente, consisting of France, Russia, and Britain, against the Central Powers, led by Germany and Austria-Hungary. As declarations of war echoed across capitals in August 1914, millions of men marched off to what they believed would be a short, glorious conflict over by Christmas. They were tragically mistaken. Germany's strategy for a swift victory was the Schlieffen Plan, a massive, lightning-fast invasion of France through neutral Belgium. The initial German advance was relentless, pushing deep into French territory and threatening Paris itself. But at the First Battle of the Marne, a desperate Franco-British counterattack, famously aided by Parisian taxi drivers ferrying troops to the front, halted the German war machine. The war of movement was over. Both sides dug in, creating a vast, unbroken line of trenches stretching from the Swiss border to the North Sea. Life in these muddy, rat-infested ditches was a grim existence defined by boredom, terror, and the constant threat of death. Barbed wire and machine guns dominated the desolate strip of land between the armies, known as No Man's Land. The generals, struggling to break the deadlock, launched massive frontal assaults. In 1916, the Battle of the Somme saw the British Army suffer nearly 60,000 casualties on the first day alone, a devastating symbol of the war's futility. The same year, the Battle of Verdun became a brutal war of attrition, a mincing machine where hundreds of thousands of French and German soldiers were sacrificed for mere yards of shell-blasted earth. By 1918, Germany, desperate for a final victory, launched its spring offensive. This massive push made initial gains but ultimately exhausted its forces, setting the stage for the war's end. While the Western Front descended into stalemate, the war raged across other fronts. On the vast Eastern Front, the war was more fluid. At the Battle of Tannenberg in 1914, German forces inflicted a catastrophic defeat on the Russian army, a blow from which the Tsarist regime would never fully recover. In 1915, the Allies attempted to break the stalemate by opening a new front in the Ottoman Empire. The Gallipoli campaign was an amphibious assault aimed at capturing the Dardanelles Strait, but it ended in a costly failure, with Allied troops pinned down on the beaches by determined Turkish defenders. The war also extended to the seas, where Britain's naval blockade slowly starved the Central Powers. In response, Germany unleashed its U-boats, waging unrestricted submarine warfare that targeted military and civilian shipping alike, a gamble that would have world-changing consequences. The sinking of American ships and the interception of the Zimmermann telegram, a secret German proposal for an alliance with Mexico, finally pushed the United States into the conflict in April 1917. The arrival of fresh American troops, the Doughboys, revitalized the exhausted Allied armies. Beginning in the summer of 1918, the Allies launched the 100 Days Offensive, a series of coordinated attacks that shattered the German lines and forced them into a full retreat. Facing collapse at home and defeat at the front, Germany sued for peace. At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, 1918, the guns finally fell silent. The war was over. The following year, the victorious powers gathered to sign the Treaty of Versailles, a punitive peace that laid heavy blame and reparations on Germany. The Great War left a deep and lasting scar on the world. It toppled empires, redrew the map of Europe, and introduced new, terrifying methods of warfare. An entire generation was lost in the mud of Flanders and the fields of France, their sacrifice marked by endless rows of white crosses in silent cemeteries. The conflict, once hailed as the war to end all wars, had solved little. Instead, its bitter legacy and unresolved tensions created a fragile peace, sowing the seeds for an even more devastating conflict just 2 decades later.